Each story has a beginning, middle, and end. Some stories just have one end, that's pretty straightforward, but some stories may have repeating cycles of beginning, middle, and end. Such stories are episodic. Many TV shows, comic issues, or other kinds of media follow this format. These stories may have an overarching plot, but they generally tell smaller stories within each installment. This is in contrast to arc-based storytelling, where there is as little as a single arc of beginning, middle, and end over the whole story. Many movies and novels follow this format, though TV shows can follow this format if they sacrifice each episode having its own ending. Many people may think that arc-based storytelling is more sophisticated, while episodic storytelling is left for what they may perceive to be lower forms of entertainment. While arc-based storytelling is strong in its ability to convey complex plots and character growth in a single long story, episodic storytelling has its own strengths that are worth respecting. The two forms of storytelling can even be combined. In this video, I'd like to discuss the merits of episodic storytelling and how I'm making use of its strengths in my comic, Silver Road. For the sake of digestibility, stories are often split into smaller segments. These may be chapters, episodes, or issues, depending on the medium. In arc-based stories, each segment covers a small part of the arc of the story. In episodic stories, each segment has its own distinct arc. Episodic stories can have larger arcs for the whole story, in which case they become a hybrid of episodic and arc-based storytelling. Arc-based stories are strong at conveying large, complicated plots that require more time. This gives room for more interesting character developments, plots, or world building. Episodic storytelling is strong at conveying multiple small ideas across shorter segments of story. Often, if an episodic story has a premise, each episode explores a different angle of that premise. Hybrid stories may have large arcs, where each episode pushes the plot forward with its own smaller arc. When I was much younger, episodic storytelling was the only kind of storytelling I was aware of for mediums such as TV. I understood that was the baseline for TV, and that movies or novels had their own kind of story structure. When I first started to notice arc-based storytelling on TV, it was exciting to me. I was enthralled by character arcs that were developed over many episodes, often adding up to longer runtimes than they would have in movies. From then on until more recently, I thought arc-based storytelling was the single way to go. I figured that arc-based stories simply had more advanced and better stories, but I hadn't yet realized what merits episodic storytelling has. More recently, I've discovered more of the strengths that episodic stories have. For one thing, their shorter, self-contained stories are easy to digest in one sitting, and can make for enjoyable, brief, yet complete feeling stories in mostly half an hour or less. We humans like fun-sized experiences, and episodic storytelling is no different. Somehow it's satisfying to have a complete experience simplified to a neat little nugget. Episodic stories make for an exciting surprise for each installment. As complex as arc-based stories are, often each segment of its story will naturally pick up from the last in a way where we sort of know what to expect. We have a sense of what the characters might do next if a story has a longer arc, even if we don't know the twist the story will take. Episodic storytelling is fun because each installment is its own surprise. Characters can be doing totally different things in different places, segment to segment. In episodic storytelling, there's more room for wild shifts in tone or setting as the story progresses through its segments, while arc-based storytelling has us engaged in how the characters will progress through a long plot. Episodic stories have us engaged in the mystery of what antics they will get up to next. Another strength of episodic storytelling is how each installment relates to the next. While the distinct characteristic of episodic storytelling is each segment being self-contained, it still exists in the context of the other installments. This is when the overall premise or theme of an episodic story is to be considered. While episodic stories are made up of many self-contained stories, each one may deal with the same cast of characters within the same world. Anthologies may even have totally different characters and worlds for each story, but the whole anthology still has an overarching theme. Strong episodic stories can take an interesting premise or theme and explore different angles of it with each segment of a story. This is a great way to take a broad idea and break it down to smaller details of each installment of the story. Hybrid stories can have the strengths of both arc-based and episodic stories. Hybrid stories may include long plots or character arcs that span multiple installments of their story, but each installment also has its own little adventure. Each segment is an opportunity for a hybrid story to advance just one or a few arcs by a single step. If a hybrid story has a set of themes, each segment can explore a different aspect of those themes. If a hybrid story has a distinct premise, each episode can explore a different part of that premise. I would classify many of my favorite shows as hybrid stories. Avatar: The Last Airbender is the model hybrid story for me. The show has a clear plot that the characters are following, and also includes several character arcs. But each episode also had its own complete adventure that the characters experience in order to get a little closer to their goals. Sometimes hybrid stories may start to lean towards either episodic or arc-based storytelling, which could be something to be wary of. If a hybrid story starts to lean too episodic, all of a sudden its episodes may start to feel too much like filler that isn't advancing the characters or plot. If a hybrid story leans too arc-based, then it can lose its charm that comes from neat self-contained stories. Occasional filler or more arc-focused sections of the story are fine. The balance really depends on the unique needs of the story. When I first started writing Silver Road, I didn't have the same thoughts on episodic storytelling as I do now. I knew I wanted long plots and complex character arcs, so I knew that arc-based storytelling would fit my needs. I also wanted most of the chapters to revolve around their own location, but I didn't originally put much thought into why I wanted that. I just thought it would be fun for the characters to explore a variety of different locations. Because of the way I thought about locations in Silver Road, I feel like some of the earlier locations lack significance to their chapters. In hindsight, some of the locations feel like incidental settings for the chapter that provide a change of scenery without feeling super important to the story of the chapter. For example, drifting off the settled location of Dozebog. Dozebog has ambient sleep-themed magic and spirits, but sleep isn't really a central theme to the chapter. Some of the character beats are related to sleep or dreams, but the overarching theme of the chapter doesn't really revolve around sleep. As I'm working on Silver Road, I'm thinking of ways that can make the story stronger as it goes on. When I was writing Glazed Moments, I came to the realization that each chapter is an opportunity to explore the significance of a location or spirit to at least one of the characters. By chance, I wrote Glazed Moments to be about Seven's relationship to his spirituality and the spirit at Baker's Bay. This was a chapter where the spirit of the location felt truly significant to one of the character arcs. I realized that this is a model that would be good to follow for other chapters of Silver Road. I say that episodic storytelling often explores a central premise from different angles. If I consider that the central theme of Silver Road is how people find magic in the world around them, then each chapter can explore a different part of that. The locations and their spirits are really important to this theme, because the locations are part of the world around the characters, and spirits are the source of magic. This theme has a lot of potential to explore different angles, because it has to do with the world itself, and the world is full of variety. Glazed Moments alone explores how Seven finds magic in his hobby of cooking. Previously, I thought of Silver Road as a collection of long arcs told over many chapters. I put a lot of thought into the long arcs of the story, but not as much thought into the arcs of each individual chapter. The approach of exploring a different angle of Silver Road themes in each chapter makes it so that the story can be strong both on the chapter level and the overall level. While it's clear that arc-based stories are more advanced and have room for more complex stories, the merits of episodic storytelling are not to be overlooked, as easy as it is to do so. There's a reason why episodic stories are so endearing. They aren't just a junk or comfort food of storytelling. If we understand the strengths of episodic storytelling, we can harness those strengths to tell really strong stories. I hope you got something out of this discussion. If you're telling an episodic story, how can you really get the structure of episodic storytelling to work in your favor? Goodbye, everybody. Sam wishes you well.